The Niqabi Diaries Season 1 illustrated book is now available in paperback. Own your copy now by clicking the link in the description box. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Season 2 of the Niqabi Diaries podcast, a platform dedicated to sharing the stories of the women behind the veil. This season, we will be speaking to more Muslim women from all walks of life as we continue to discuss their deep and intimate reasons for wearing the niqab. The Niqabi Diaries, our experiences, our perspectives, our voices. I'm your host, Samar, and thank you for listening. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sister, how are you?
Wa alaikum assalam. I'm good. Alhamdulillah. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, good. Jazakallah khair for joining us today on the Niqabi Diaries. Sister, could you please introduce yourself for the listeners and tell us a little bit about what you do, inshallah?
Yeah, so my name is Faiza. I'm 17 years old. I'm a senior in high school right now. I'm graduating in a few months, inshallah. And yeah, I live in America, California.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, sister. So could you tell us a little bit about your Islamic background and how you started to wear the niqab?
Yeah, so I was born into a Muslim family, alhamdulillah. So, obviously I was always practicing to an extent. And I think I very recently started wearing niqab actually. It's been like a few months, maybe like November, December. I don't really know the
Okay.
exact date.
Alhamdulillah.
But it was around then. Yeah, alhamdulillah. And so I first started wearing hijab when I was 9, but it was in 5th grade. So 9, 10, like around that age, which is obviously really young. And I think I didn't really like know the full importance of it, but I just kind of I wanted to wear it. It was my decision, and I just kind of did it because I was like, oh, I'm a Muslim girl. I'm a Muslimah. This is what I'm supposed to do, and so I wore it. But because I didn't really know like exactly why I had to do it, and I didn't really know everything about it, and I didn't really understand the importance the role it plays in our religion. It kind of turned into a harder journey with the hijab just because I'm growing up in America. All my friends, they weren't, most of them weren't Muslim, especially not the ones from school, and a lot of them don't understand hijab, and they don't, you know modesty isn't a big part of their religion as it is in our religion.
Yes.
And yeah, so it just became a little bit difficult until about a year ago.
So what happened up till then?
So basically, after, I think especially when I got to high school, so like ninth grade, freshman year, that's when it started getting a little bit harder, just because I was going to high school. I wanted to look like everyone else. I wasn't really too concerned about modesty. I was just like, if I have something on my head, that plays the part. And obviously that's not true. And it took a while for me to really even understand like why we had to even do it, because I saw lots of sisters not wearing them. I saw sisters wearing them. I saw sisters in niqab, and I was just very confused. And I was never searching the answers to these questions. I was just kind of letting them play in the back of my mind and just like passing them off as like something I can do later.
Yeah. Yes, subhanallah. So what made you like transition to the niqab then? What happened?
I think it's just, for me personally, it was just like the better like my relationship with Allah got, it just kind of just came in. Like I don't that's why I can't even give you like a real date, because I was just like one day, like I was just like, for me, I started wearing it because I thought it was obligatory, and I was following that view for a while
Okay,
that it
so
was
did you do
obligatory. And
some
I
research
mean,
into it then? Is that why you came to that conclusion? Was you researching
yeah,
about
I
the
was
niqab?
doing, yeah, for like a few months, I was just, always constantly searching because I was just very torn, because people who said it was, obligatory presented their view very well. People who said it wasn't also presented it well. So I was very confused. I was asking people, I don't know, it's just, it was confusing, but I was just like, either way, niqab is gonna be good, even if it's, not obligatory. It's still an act of worship, and it's still something that's important and plays a big part in our religion. And for me, only benefits came from it. So I was just like, let me just do it. And I mean, here I am now, alhamdulillah. So,
Alhamdulillah. So, have you been? Obviously, it's been like lockdown and things in different parts of the world, most places actually. So,
mhm.
did you find it easier because of the epidemic that's going on, the pandemic, or did you? Was it a case where you still kind of had your doubts of whether to put it on? Was you kind of nervous about it?
I think it definitely was easier because of, the pandemic, because everyone else is wearing a mask anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was telling a few people, like I want to do it, I think it's obligatory, but I'm just, I'm a little nervous. I don't really know what to do. They were just like, I mean, if you don't do it now, it's everyone's wearing a mask. And I just always thought of that, like that's so true. Everyone is covering their face. What better time for me to do it now?
Yeah, mashallah. So, you have you been going to high school with it?
So we do our school online right now, but when I turn on my camera, yeah, I have been wearing it.
Okay, alhamdulillah, mashallah. And has there been any kind of any kind of feedback from other students or even teachers when they seen you online with it?
Surprisingly, no. It's anything that people say has only been good. And I remember I was really nervous, the first day I started to wear it because I think it was just like just a random day. I just, previous week or previous day I wasn't wearing it and I came on and I was wearing it. And I was really nervous. But everyone, when I told them, I'm starting to do this now, they're all non-Muslims. They were all super supportive, just I was very surprised. Anything people were saying, they were really respectful, when I asked people to like take down pictures of me or like group pictures with me and them and things like that, they were very, willing to do so and they all did it, alhamdulillah. So it's only been good from that side.
Alhamdulillah, that's great. Mashallah, mashallah.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. So what about your family?
So a lot, like I think my immediate family and like, my aunt and things and people like that, they know that I wear niqab, but my very much extended family doesn't really.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think from family, there's always comments just because, like, I think some of them also don't, just because it's not obligatory and they don't follow that view that it's obligatory.
Mm.
Um, they just kind of, they're just kind of like, this is extra. You're only 17. You don't need to be doing this. And I think they're more just scared, like from my, parents. I think they're just more scared of like what's going to happen in the future. You're not going to get a job, things like that.
SubhanAllah. So what has that been a concern of yours? Do you think, like,
Honestly,
for the future going forward, what's your kind of thoughts on that, and how do you think you'd deal with that?
so or I mean, since I'm, a senior right now, I was applying to college. And so during that process is actually when I started wearing the niqab.
Mhm.
And I applied to most of my schools with nursing, but right now, I'm still deciding. And so because I was doing that, a lot of them were saying, you're not gonna get a nursing job with niqab. And I would present them the other way of like everyone is wearing masks and nurses have to be wearing masks. It's the
Yeah,
same thing. So
yeah. You could just wear your mask as a nurse, isn't it? Even if you don't wear the actual like fabric
yeah,
niqab that we normally wear, you can still wear your mask.
yeah, and I was planning to, inshallah, if I do, or if whatever Allah has in store for me. But either way, I don't think that like a job has to, I wouldn't give up niqab just for a job, and I don't think I should have to do that either.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Allah make it easy for you. I mean,
I mean,
so in the short time that you've been wearing it, have you managed to like do any kind of traveling? Even though obviously with this whole situation, I know people aren't doing that much, but have you been out and about wearing it, or like traveled to another city at all, anything like that?
not like outside of like my state, my city, just because of obvious pandemic, but
Yeah,
um honestly, people like it's more comfortable because even with the hijab, like I don't know, I was still uncomfortable around men and like especially like, men my age and things like that. And
mm,
I can see a very, I can see the difference in me wearing the niqab and versus before, because no one's really looking. They just kind of lower their gaze, alhamdulillah, which is
Alhamdulillah.
obviously what I was expecting.
Mhm. Alhamdulillah. So, what would you advise other sisters who are thinking about wearing the niqab?
I would say just do it. And if you're doing it because you want to please Allah, which is what all of our intentions should be, then don't let other people's comments or like what you think they're going to say affects you. Because when I just put it on, I mean, I didn't know what other people would say. And it turned out to be mostly positive. And, even from my family, even from what I guess people would consider negative, it was just they're being concerned, not them, you know, belittling me or like being mean because of it. And especially from the non-Muslims, which is, very surprising, and alhamdulillah, especially in a non-Muslim country. It was really nice.
Alhamdulillah. So, would you say that there's a difference in how sisters who wear the hijab get treated from sisters who wear the niqab get treated, and that's like from the non-Muslim perspective and from the Muslim perspective?
Okay, from the non-Muslim perspective, I think when I started wearing it, I think people were just kind of like, oh, this is her religion, and so they were respectful of it.
Hmm.
They didn't, they were just kind of like, okay, this is what she has to do. Um, from the Muslim perspective, I mean, I don't really know, like when I was a hijabi, and even like before, I mean, I saw, women wearing it, but I didn't really understand. And I also used to not have like resentment towards them, but just like confusion. I was just kind of like, why are they doing that? Why do they have to? Why are they covering their face? It was all like blurry to me. And I'm sure, people, non-Muslims and Muslims, probably have that same confusion, of like, I don't really understand. But when they ask, it's always nice to, explain it to them, and then inshallah they get it and they can change their views. But I think definitely there is a difference between how people treat niqabis and hijabis,
Hmm.
but I don't think that's bad, because I mean, for me, like, I wore the niqab, and I expect people to lower their gaze, and they do, versus before. Because that's also why, part of why I was confused on why, if it was obligatory or not. And because, the beauty of a woman is in her face. And
Yeah,
even,
it's
like I
true.
said, yeah, and even, I mean, every woman has some sort of beauty, and everyone, at some point someone's going to be attracted to them. And like I said, I was uncomfortable many times, even around Muslim men, even in Muslim settings. And so when I started wearing it, it was just kind of like, everyone was just kind of like, okay, she wears niqab now. It was,
Yeah,
yeah.
just something normal.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. So, on that note, would you describe the niqab as being a barrier? And
I think
if so, in which sense?
barrier is like a very negative term. And I think, like, even before, when people would tell me, do you think your hijab is a barrier? And I think it does stop me from doing things, but not in a bad way. And I'm happy to be doing that. And I think, for example, if I was going somewhere and they were treating me badly, or they wouldn't let me go because of my niqab, then I would just remove myself from the situation and not remove my niqab. If that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So, sister, to end the interview, I'll ask you, what does the niqab mean to you?
It's a representation of my connection with Allah, and, just represents me in this deen, and striving, and, learning and relearning things about modesty. So, and unlearning things about modesty that I that I thought before that was not right. So,
Alhamdulillah.
yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair, sister. Thank you so much for giving your time today and sharing your beautiful and new experience of the niqab with us. Alhamdulillah. May Allah keep you steadfast on it. Ameen.
I mean, thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.